Yo, we up in the ring, breaking news with a jab. Ringside ramble, got the stories you grab. Video clips, front row, you won't miss the brawl. Big hits, KOs, we got it all.
Welcome back to Ringside Ramble. It's me, Niall, here bringing you all the latest news, views, and breakdowns from around the world of professional boxing. In this video, I'm going to be giving my reaction to the huge news that the unbeaten Briton Hamzah Sheeraz will challenge for a world title for the first time in his career on February 22nd as he faces the WBC champion, the dangerous Carlos Adames, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's going to be a huge one. This I'm a big fan of both men, and I think this cannot fail to really ignite and catch fire. And stylistically, it's a great matchup. So yeah, I'll be giving my thoughts on this announcement and who I think will win. But before we get into today's video, please don't forget. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you enjoy my content, I'd be so grateful. Close to 100 subs now, so it mean a lot to me. It'd be a milestone for me starting this channel. I know it may feel like nothing to some people, but it'd be a huge step for me, so I'd really appreciate that. Give this video a like, give it a share, follow us over on X, all that good stuff. Yeah, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. So yeah, let's get into today's video. Hamzah Sheeraz versus Carlos Adames. February 22nd, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. You know, it was talked about for a long time that Hamzah Sheeraz would challenge for a world title on this card. Of course, it was ordered by the WBO that he faces Janabek, the WBO champion, the dangerous, unbeaten Kazakh fighter. That was ordered, and that would have been an outstanding fight. It really would have been an outstanding fight. I'm such a big fan of Janabek. I think he has everything. He has, you know, he has such good footwork, good balance, crisp puncher, smooth puncher, you know, really heavy-handed, big puncher, you know, so technically well skilled. But yeah, just so crisp and clean in his technique. He has pretty much everything Janabek does. I think Janabek is probably arguably the best middleweight in the world now. To be honest with you, I think he's outstanding. He just needs the big fights to prove that. You know, it was ordered by the WBO that he fight Hamzah Sheeraz. Why that fight never came to fruition, I don't know. But you know, who knows who was to blame for that? Not happening. Janabek versus Hamzah Sheeraz. But you know, I'm delighted Hamzah Sheeraz is fighting for a world title. He's fighting for the WBC title against Carlos Adames, and Hamzah Sheeraz is one of my favorite fighters in the world at the minute to watch. I think he's a big, big problem for anybody. I really do. I think he's such a good fighter. First of all, the size. You know, for to be that size, fighting at 160 pounds, I don't know how he makes 160, first of all, but he's huge. You know, he could probably, you know, I'll discuss it a little bit more in a few minutes on this video probably, but multi-weight world titles. This fella could challenge for multi-weight world titles, whether it be a, you know, middleweight, super middleweight, even light heavyweight. He has the dimensions. So he has the size, he has the range, he has the technique. He's a very, very clever boxer. You know, his composure is something that stands out a lot to me. How composed he is outside the ring and inside the ring. I love how he speaks, how he conducts himself outside the ring, but inside the ring, he never flusters. He never seems to fluster. He never seems to get too excited, too panicky, too nervous, too aggressive. He always knows how to manage the distance perfectly. He sticks to his game plan. You know, he's very good at sticking to his game plan. Doesn't fluster. So composed and just handles everything that gets thrown at him in the ring. He really does. And his power, of course, absolutely huge puncher. So yeah, there's not a lot Hamzah Sheeraz does wrong between how big he is, how technically clean he is, you know, how composed he is, and the power. Really, really heavy-handed. You know, the jury was kind of still out for me on Hamzah Sheeraz heading into the Amma Williams fight. It really was. That was a real pick and fight for me, where both men had a lot of questions to answer. Of course, two unbeaten, you know, future hot prospects on the Matchroom Queensbury 5v5, and Hamzah Sheeraz dismantled Amo Williams. You know, say what you want about Amo Williams, personality wise or even ability wise, he's a top fighter. He really is. He was unbeaten for a reason, and Hamza Sheeraz picked him apart, systematically broke him down. You could see that even with the early success Amma Williams had, he had no answer to stop Hamza Sheeraz coming onto him. As I mentioned, the composure to just keep picking his shots, keep coming forward, closing the ring off so educated and sophisticated in how he closed the ring off and chopped away at Amber Williams until he broke him down and stopped him. That was such an impressive performance. It really was. So that was when I really set up and took notice of Hamza Sheeraz. Of course, he was blown through opposition easily before that, but to do it against a caliber of fighter like Amber Williams, to kind of dismantle him like that and stop him is a huge statement. And then of course, he faced Tyler Denny. Tyler Denny on the form of his career, really awkward, really quality operator in his own right. Not world class, no, but still a really top level operator and a tough night's work for most people. And Hamza Sheeraz blew him away in a couple of rounds, absolutely blitzed him. So he's making these fighters look like they don't belong in the same ring as him. They're really top tier fighters. So now it's time to prove, can he do it on the world stage? And it's going to be a really tough ask against Carlos Adames. The Dominican fighter. I'm a huge fan of his as well. I don't see how boxing fans couldn't be a fan of Carlos Adames, to be honest with you, with the excitement and the aggression, the relentless pace that he brings, and the huge power in his hands as well. 18 KOs and 24 wins. The one loss on his record, no shame in that to Patrick Teixeira. But yeah, Carlos Adames is so exciting to watch. He reminds me of a bigger version of Subriel Matias. Just with the pace he sets, he drowns his opponents. His relentless pace never stops coming forward, never stops throwing punches, and his punches have such a huge effect. So, Carlos Adames is a really exciting fighter. Of course, there was talk, like Matthias, he almost had a bogeyman reputation in the 160-pound division, but he's racked up solid wins now. He's beaten Sergey Derevyanchenko, he's beaten Montiel, he's beaten former world champion Julian Williams. These are solid wins. I know the middleweight division is not as kind of stacked as it used to be, but these are solid wins. Solid opponents that he's beaten. And he's, as I say, he's drowning them and doing so, saying that with that aggression, and that work rate and the power. So, yeah, really, really top fighter, of course. Didn't win his title in the ring. He was upgraded to full WBC world champion from the interim title after Jamal Charlo was stripped of that title for inactivity. So he's the belt holder now and he faces Hamza Sheeraz. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I think this fight cannot fail to disappoint stylistically. I think these two are going to clash so well. You've got the kind of technical ability, the size, the power, the composure of Hamza Sheeraz against the aggression and the power and the relentlessness. And the unbelievable tempo of Carlos Adames. So I think this is going to be a war. I really do think it's going to be a war. It's going to be violent. I think this fight's going to get very violent. Hamza Sheeraz is going to have a lot of questions asked of him that he hasn't had to answer before. Carl, if Hamza Sheeraz is not ready for world level, Carlos Adames will definitely beat him. So he's going to ask him a lot of questions in this. Maybe even puts him on the floor. Who knows? If he tags him, Hamza Sheeraz could hit the floor here. The big tower of Hamza Sheeraz, the big frame could be on the deck. So I think Carlos Adames will ask him a lot of questions. However, I think Hamza Sheeraz is the real deal, and I think he'll prove it on February 22nd. As I mentioned, he has the one thing to go with his other attributes of size, power, technical ability. He has the composure. I don't think he'll fluster when the going gets tough against Carlos Adames. I really don't think he'll fluster. I think he'll be able to make more adjustments as well. When it gets tough, I think he'll be able to kind of be more versatile than Carlos Adames, make more adjustments than the Dominican champion. So I just think he'd be too well rounded and too too composed and too versatile for Carlos Adames. I really do, but this has fight of the year potential. I really think it has fight of the year potential with both men's styles and their styles and their power. I think it's going to catch fire and it's going to be really, really outstanding. So I'm on Hamza Sheeraz points. I think Hamza Sheeraz points in a real war here, and I think he's going to become the world champion. And as I said at the start of the video again, I think he has the ability to become a multi-weight world champion. I really do with his size. You know, you look at middleweight now, as I mentioned, it's not the most stacked division. You've got the WBO champion Janabek, you know, which Janabek, I've already mentioned how high I am on him. He can do it all, you know, his kind of crisp, smooth technique, his shot selection, his footwork, his balance, and his power. I think Janabek and Hamza Sheeraz will be another war. I really do. I think it'll be outstanding and violent. Um, you know, you've got Erislandy Lara, the veteran Cuban Erislandy Lara, a tough night's work for anybody. But you know, he's over 40 now, I believe, but he's been on a good run recently and he's been showing signs of real punching power that he hadn't showed earlier in his career. So Lara is a tough night's work for anybody, but I don't think he'd have enough to keep Hamza Sheeraz off him at this stage in his career for 12 rounds. I think Hamza Sheeraz would close the ring off on him well, systematically breaking down, work the body beautifully, and I think he'd get to Lara and stop him. So yeah. You've got those champions, of course. Janabek holds the IBF title as well. I neglected to mention, but yeah, I think Hamza Sheeraz beats Adames, and he could very well beat the other champions as well, Janabek and Lara. And then, of course, it's a video for another day, but he's more than capable of moving up to 168 and beyond to win world titles. I think this kid is the real deal, and he's one of the best fighters Britain has produced in a long, long time. And I mean, I'm such a big fan of his. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Delighted this one's been announced that Hamza Sheeraz gets a shot at the world title on February 22nd as he faces the WBC champion Carlos Adames from the Dominican Republic in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Looks like it'll be another Matchroom versus Queensbury card, but yeah, this one can't fail to catch fire. It really can't. It's going to be violent. But I'm going Sheeraz points. And yeah, and the new WBC middleweight world champion, Hamza Sheeraz. Let us know what you think in the comments. That was just my reaction to the news that Hamza Sheeraz will challenge for the world title next February against Carlos Adames. So yeah, let us know what you think. Um, how big of a fan are you of Hamza Sheeraz? You know, how impressed have you been so far? Is he going to the top? Will he beat Adames, or will Adames prove that he's not quite ready for this level yet? Let us know what you think. Get involved in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And as I said at the start of the video, please don't forget, if you enjoy the content, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. Close to 100 subs now, so I'd really appreciate all the help I can get there with that one. You know, subscribe, give the video a like, follow us over on X. Always great content to engage with on all platforms. So yeah, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And until next time, speak again and take care.